the entry into force of the treaty. Means that if the treaty enters into force on the 1st of January 2002, an investment made in 1995 can be affected by that treaty, by the provisions of that treaty, even if it has been made before the entry into force. Okay? So of course this is a more favorable treatment than the first one, because if we implement or if we apply this treaty to this situation, TECMED can claim the benefit of the protection of the treaty, but if we apply that, TECMED cannot claim the benefit. So TECMED tried to use the most favored nation treatment to claim the benefit of this more favorable treatment. And the tribunal refused the claim, stating that the prime dimension of application of the substantive provisions of the treaty, due to their significance and importance, go to the core of matters that must be deemed to be specifically negotiated by the contracting parties. As such, their application cannot therefore be impaired by the principle contained in the most favored nation clause. It means that you cannot impair, you can modify, if I could say so, you cannot modify those provisions by the most favored nation clause. So it's not because that you can identify a better treatment. It's not because you can identify a better treatment here that you have the right to claim the benefits of that better treatment. Okay? So the tribunal puts identify a limit to the most favored nation clause, stating that the most favored nation clause cannot impair the provisions which go to the core of matters that must be deemed to be specifically negotiated by the contracting parties, and the question of the time dimension of application of the provisions of the treaty is considered as such. Okay. So what can we say? What can we say of that solution given by this treaty, this tribunal? Do you understand what it is?
Yes, but what if the Spain and Mexico made a treaty without stipulated the investment made after the entry into force of the treaty? Just ignore that sentence. They don't put that sentence. Just
if there's nothing.
Yeah, nothing. So they can enjoy fair and equitable.
It's not about fair and equitable treatment here. It's just the application of the treaty. If you are a Spanish investor in Mexico, okay, let's say in 1980, okay. So that's the date the investment is made on the territory of Mexico. If the treaty, say, if the treaty enters into force on the 1st of January 2000, even if the investment still exists here, let's say on the 1st of January 2001, so after the entry into force of the treaty, but it's the same investment here, okay, so a continuous activity. Okay. If there is a problem here between the investor and the state of Mexico, because of this, the treaty is applicable only to investments made after the entry into force of the treaty. The investor from Spain cannot claim the benefit of the treaty between Spain and Mexico. Okay? But of course, if you don't have this, and if you have this, the treaty is applicable to investments made before or after the entry into force of the treaty. If you have this solution, then even if the treaty enters into force on the 1st of January 2000, this treaty will be applicable to investments made either before or after the entry into force. So in that case, an investment made in 1980 will be governed by the treaty after 1st of January 2000. So if there is a problem, if there is a dispute between the Spanish investor and the Mexican state, the state of Mexico, let's say in 2001, the investor can claim the benefit of that treaty. Okay? So, as the treaty between Spain and Mexico includes a provision stating that it is only applicable to investments made after the entry into force of the treaty, the investor of Spain tried to use the most favored nation treatment by saying that Mexico has concluded treaties with other foreign, with other states other than Spain, and in those treaties, it is declared, it is mentioned that the treaties are applicable to investments made before or after the entry into force of the treaty, which is a better treatment, of course, because if you are the national of those states investing in Mexico, you can claim the benefits of this treaty or of the treaty concluded between your national state and Mexico, even if your investment has been made before the entry into force of the treaty. Okay, so that was the situation in that case. But the tribunal, so the TecMed versus Mexico case, the tribunal refused the claim or refused the allegations made by TecMed, saying that some provisions of the treaty cannot be impaired by the principle contained in the most favored nation clause, and it says that due to their significance and importance, those provisions or those principles go to the core of matters that must be deemed to be specifically negotiated by contracting parties. What can we say of this solution given by the TecMed tribunal?
Because the two parties has significantly negotiated the core issue on how the treaty will be applicable in practice.
Yeah. So you agree with the tribunal?
Yeah.
I think it's logical. But okay, but do you also but in that case,
country A and country B made an agreement and stated that the country A investor cannot enjoy fair and equitable treatment in this case, even though country B and country C has signed a treaty which include fair and equitable treatment. Country A investor cannot enjoy the fair and equitable treatment.
So you don't want the most favored nation treatment to produce any effect?
Yeah, because they have specifically stipulated that country A cannot enjoy the fair and equitable treatment if they stated in the treaty between A and B.
So you think that I don't have it there. So you think that the tribunal made a mistake in that case, and the other tribunal was right in that case? Because in that case, the Binder versus Pakistan case, the tribunal said that an investor from Turkey, has the right to claim the benefit of the fair and equitable treatment, even if the fair and equitable treatment is not included in the bilateral investment treaty between Turkey and Pakistan. Why an investor from Turkey can do such a thing? It's because Pakistan has concluded bilateral investment treaties with other states, including the fair and equitable treatment, and the tribunal says, well, granting the fair and equitable treatment is better treatment than not granting the fair and equitable treatment. So if we use the most favored nation treatment, which is included in the treaty between Turkey and Pakistan, then an investor from Turkey can claim the benefit of this included in the treaty between Pakistan and other states, not Turkey. Okay, so in that case, the most favored nation treatment operates, can produce some legal effects. And in that case, the Tecfe versus Mexico case, the tribunal said that regarding the time dimension of the application of the treaty, the most favored nation treatment cannot impair the provision of that treaty, stating that this is a core matter that has been specifically negotiated by states and that you cannot impair by the use of the most favored nation treatment. So how can we compare those two solutions? Because as far as I understand what you said, you don't want the most favored nation treatment to produce any legal effect.
In this case, in the first case, can they include a separate article including that both investor from both parties, the investor from both parties cannot enjoy the fair and equitable treatment?
No, it was just not mentioned.
Yeah, but if you include that,
well, I don't know how states would negotiate such a provision. But I don't know how a state would say, okay, you can treat my national not in a fair way and not in an equitable way. So I don't think we could find such a provision. So it's purely theoretical. But well, why tribunal say that in the Tecfe case? And what could we say? What could we say of this? So, what can you say of this? Yeah, thank you. There are miracles all the time. No? But yesterday we were 8, something like this. We have 10 single didn't sign for yesterday? Okay, let's sign for yesterday. Yeah. Thank you. So, it's okay for everyone? No dead people wants to sign? Or no?
I say only one. No, only today I signed. No, I mean,
I have no reason not to trust you, but experience shows that sometimes miracles happen. Not for me, ammonia. So, what can we say of this solution?
I think the difference between two cases is only the second one has clearly stated in the treaty that the entry into force is for the investment after. But the first case doesn't state anything.
Okay, well, yeah. Okay, if we compare the two solutions, yeah, we would say that it's easier to add something by the way of the post-favored nation treatment than going against what has been written in the okay. Yeah, you're right on that point. But what can we say of this? The identification of some principles or rules which, due to their significance and importance, go to the core of matters that must be deemed to be specifically negotiated by the contracting parties. What could be the effect or the consequences of such a qualification in that case or in other cases? Because we could say, well, if we go with that with a very basic example, in that case, we could say here, okay, so there is a 10% tariff, okay, and here we have a 1% tariff. We could say that between A and B, the 10% tariff is at the core matter of the treaty that could not be impaired by the most favored nation treatment. But that's not what the World Trade Organization says. The World Trade Organization says that in this case, if a tariff of 10% is imposed to products coming from B on the territory of A, and if A gives a better tariff to product X from C on the territory, entering the territory of A, in that case, because of the most favored nation treatment, the tariff here has to be reduced to 1%. So here, the World Trade Organization, or the law of the World Trade Organization, clearly states that you have to reduce the tariffs on this to extend the benefits of that to state B. Okay, so the most favored nation treatment, the purpose of the most favored nation treatment can impair some commitments of the state, or can modify some obligations and some principles accepted by states. In that, as state A in this example has accepted to grant to be the most favored nation treatment, state A cannot say afterwards, well, okay, I said that, but I want to give something better to C. I don't want to extend the benefit of this to B. Okay? So in that case, within the World Trade Organization, we clearly accept that Y isn't the case here. But in that case, tribunal says, okay, Spain and Mexico have negotiated a treaty. They have specifically negotiated some provisions of the treaty, and those specifically negotiated provisions of the treaty cannot be impaired by the principle contained in the most favored nation treatment. What can we say of that?
Maybe because it is related to the entry into force of the treaty. Because every treaty must stipulate the entry into force. Otherwise, we cannot apply the treaty to practice.
Okay. Well, okay, but why? What could be the risk of recognizing such a solution? What's the risk with that solution? No, you see no problem? How do you identify some provisions specifically negotiated by contracting parties? What is it in a treaty? A provision that has been specifically negotiated by the contracting parties. Because if we want the most favored nation treaty, the most favored nation clause to produce some legal effects, it means that the most favored nation clause will or can or may impair the application of some other provisions which don't go to the core of matters that must be deemed to be specifically negotiated by contracting parties. Means that, or what this statement by the tribunal implies is that there are some provisions that are specifically negotiated by the contracting parties, and there are some provisions which are not specifically negotiated by the contracting parties. On the first one, the most favored nation treatment can do nothing. On the second one, the most favored nation treatment can modify the treatment that has to be applied to the foreign investor. So how do you distinguish between the specifically negotiated provisions and the provisions that have not been specifically negotiated by the contracting parties? Let's do it like this. If you have, let's say, a treaty between China and Cambodia, okay? So there is the most favored nation treatment clause in that treaty, okay? Let's say that there is Article 5. There is the right for the investors to compensation in case of expropriation. And the money has to be 6 months, to be given by state to the investor 6 months after the expropriation. Okay? So there's a right to compensation, but only 6 months after the expropriation. That's not in that treaty, but let's pretend it is. Okay? If you have another treaty between China and Japan. Okay. And let's say that there is also an Article 5 right to compensation. This time is 3 months. Okay, so 3 months after the expropriation, the investor can claim a financial compensation for the expropriation. If you are a Cambodian, investor in China, and if you are a victim of an expropriation, and if you want to have the money as soon as possible, if you want to benefit from the compensation as soon as possible, if you rely on the treaty between China and Cambodia, you'll have to wait 6 months. Okay, but as there is the most favored nation treatment in this treaty, you will try to identify in other treaties concluded by China if there are some more favorable treatments given by China to other foreign investors. Okay, and if you find in the treaty concluded between China and Japan a provision which grants the right to have the money only 3 months after the expropriation, well, 3 is better than 6 in that case, can you use the most favored nation treatment to benefit from this? So to claim a compensation only 3 months after the expropriation instead of 6 if you rely only on the China-Cambodian treaty. Why?
Because it's clearly stipulated, it's clearly stated in the treaty between Cambodia and China that you can claim after the.
Yes, but this is also clearly stipulated now. Now, well, if I follow what you say, it means that the state, China, Cambodia, or any other state, could say to investors, well, I will give you the best treatment I give to any other investor. And when the investor tries to claim the benefit of this, the state can say, no, you will not have the best treatment because I say in that treaty that we will have to wait 6 months. So it means that the most favored nation treatment cannot produce any effect. No? The purpose of the most favored nation treatment is to ensure that there is no discrimination by a state between a foreign investor and another foreign investor. So here it means that China takes the commitment not to discriminate between Cambodian investor and, let's say, Japan investors. Okay, so China, by accepting the most favored nation treatment, it sets to